You are on my side, definitely. I mean, Niall is as well, but I really pull for this to be like a favorite for everybody, and I'm glad to hear this.
There's a lot of stuff you said there, though, Kiri, about like the rocket being inexplicable, and like we ran into that because like we had to talk about that minute by minute. And we're like, so his plan was to freeze the city to hold it ransom, but he was also going to drop a bomb on it that was going to turn the whole city into a smoking crater. What? Like what? Why
I have no idea why the rocket is there. Like
No.
and he used it kind of as a getaway, and I'm like, why are you going? Were you going to get away into space and then fly out from space because you can, I guess, survive the cold, even though the whole lack of oxygen thing and reentry through.
There's things about
the
like
atmosphere would be a
he's-
problem.
He's trying to save his wife, yet he's going to dump a rocket onto the city that would probably kill his wife because she's going to be in the blast radius to this friggin' rocket he's launching at Gotham. Even though he had a whole other plan about stealing these diamonds to get a freeze ray to freeze this, like, it's just to make those
It would work if it was a freeze bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a big problem they also ran into is, honestly, with what Victor Freeze has become over the years. I know he started out as, I can't remember his original character's villain name, and he was
Mr.
very
Zero.
two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, I think this would have worked with a Mr. Zero. You kind of run into some trouble when you make it Victor Freeze, because Victor Freeze is such a complicated villain. And that's why I love him, honestly. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. I think he's very underrated. And it's because you never have, well, at least for the most part, I'm not thinking of, I think there's the New 52 that made him just crazy and obsessed with this random girl who was not actually his wife.
Yeah.
I hated that. I hated that so much because it seemed like that entire series was like, let's take away all the things that make these villains like three-dimensional and cool and just make them like blah.
Yeah.
Anyways, just I have
And
feelings.
Greg Capullo doing that haircut that he does on everybody as well, where it's like shaved head, little tuft of hair at the top. It's like, what is with you in that haircut, man?
I don't understand. It's weirdly kind of Nazi, actually. Well, no, because like around that time, not specifically that, but around that time period, the reason we have the shaved, like the style of like the shaved head and where you've got like more of the hair on top, literally started because of head lice.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And to help prevent that. But it was around like the 1930s and World War II.
That would be great, though, for Greg Capullo.
It also
if
looked
there
very
was
militant.
actually, prior to him coming on, there was a storyline where Gotham was infested with head lice. And he just
I
made
love it.
so like, oh no, every character has this haircut now where they have the shaved head.
Everyone.
I thought you were
Except
going to
the
say
little tuft at the top.
infested with Nazis.
Infested with Nazis. Well,
I mean, Gotham probably is.
it probably was at some point. I don't know. I haven't watched the series since like season
Well,
one.
this is,
But I'm
in
pretty sure.
a lot of versions of Gotham, maybe not in that one. There's a strong fascist aesthetic, as I keep bringing up.
Oh, absolutely. More
Dark Knight
gangy though than.
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns had that lady with the swastika boobs. They had, like big swastikas over her nipples
right.
and stuff.
I forgot about that.
But I think she might have been doing it in more of like a Susie Sue kind of way, where it was like this is like the kind of a punk rock thing rather than a actual fascistic belief system that she was following.
Like,
Susie
maybe
did.
This is a symbol we don't want to try to reclaim.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I think punks did it, and Susie especially, because it was like let's take a symbol and present it completely out of context to A, annoy people, and B, completely change the context of it. Which, okay, from an artistic point of view, I get it, but it's also like, that's maybe a bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
like maybe if you don't have some strong heritage wrapped in, any of the cultures that were affected, maybe you don't. It's not your job to change the context.
Yeah.
Anyway,
say if like a Jewish artist did it, I'd be like, that is awesome what you've done. You're screwing with these people. That's great. But someone else, it's like if I did it, it's like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
I did see that documentary about Sparks recently. Of course, Sparks the band. Ron Mail famously always has like slick back hair and the little mustache. And you see him in early interviews where people are talking about, like, oh, yes, Hitler mustache you've got. And he's like, well, it's more of a Charlie Chaplin thing. He's really trying to
very
emphasize
different.
Where it's like, no. First of all, not the only person who had it, just unfortunately the most famous, which, let's be honest, during Charlie Chaplin's heyday, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then Chaplin, of course, made fun of of old Adolf
Yes.
there with what was the movie called?
love
The
it.
Great Dictator, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Great Dictator.
Just then seeing throughout the film, though, Ron's mustache changing into more of like a John Waters-esque pencil one. 'Cause he's like,
Ah, yes.
obviously got fed up with the comparisons. It's like, all right, I gotta slowly mold this here.
Just gonna change it.
Respect.
I'm sorry I somehow dragged us into Nazis. I don't know how I managed that. Anyway, my point was Victor Fries is a very interesting, complicated person. He's not usually twirling a mustache going, this is how I'll destroy Batman. It's, I want to save my damn wife. Which I think someone jokingly pointed out, like, just fund his fucking research. What? Batman, why are you still fighting Victor Fries? You have the... that's fine.
That's the thing. Like, if you take him in, okay, you could arrest him or whatever, but you could at least also be like, okay, you're going behind bars, but what we're going to do is we're going to set you up with, like, a team you can work with. It's a bit like, actually, the Soviet Union used to do that. They used to sort of imprison scientists, like foreign scientists and things like that, but make them work. Like, okay, you're in jail technically, but it's a facility that you can work in.
Much like the Street Fighter movie with Dalsum.
Oh, God.
The doctor that created Blanca for M. Bison.
No, it is just like that.
You can bring everything back to the Street Fighter movie.
Flashback. No, I love it. I love it. Never change. But yeah, like, I mean, he's got a very almost like Walter White before Walter White was Walter White thing going on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I have to deal with this astronomical dead end, and to fund it so that it's not like I have to commit crime. Obviously, he's a little bit more altruistic than Walter White became in the end, but still. Just a very interesting idea of talking about, like, oh, how we maybe handle the medical field and in this, like, research and all of, I don't know. I think he brings up a lot of interesting weak points in our society.
Yeah, I also had like little things too I hadn't considered. Like we had on